Today, we'll dig a project Bodybag to get our full-on mini truck laying on its frame. First, we'll install our bag front-end suspension and make room to tuck our 20s. Then, we'll get the air suspension up and running so we can go out and lay frame for more sparks than the 4th of July. It's all here today on Trucks.
Hey, welcome to Trucks. Today, we are knee-deep in our first ever full-on custom mini truck. This 97 Nissan hardbody we're calling Project Bodybag. Well, our goals here are simple. We want a cool-looking truck that tucks 20s and lays frame all over the road. We started out with a hardbody that probably could have lived out the rest of its life as a regular truck, but that was all over when we hacked the rear leaf spring suspension off, fabbed our own triangulated 4-link, C-notched the frame, and lobbed about 1/3 of the bed floor out just so we could get the drop we wanted. So now that we're way past the point of no return, we're just going to keep on hacking until the front suspension matches the drop that we built into the back. And although this system is functional, it's by no means finished. We've still got bag mounts to deal with, shocks, air lines to run, not to mention the fuel system, because our factory fuel tank was sacrificed to allow for suspension travel. But don't worry, today we're going to take care of all of that and hit the road, lay the frame, throw some sparks.
We're going to drop the front end to get it ready for the airbags like in the back. But before we do that, we got to get rid of this stock suspension. So we're going to start with the torsion bars.
We want to keep the strength of the frame, and since it houses the engine, front suspension, steering, and brakes, we can't be as aggressive as we were out back, and that means redesigning only one component of the front end, the suspension. The stock front setup on our Nissan is this torsion beam suspension. Pretty easily adjustable, and you Nissan guys know that you can get a surprising amount of drop just by adjusting the preload on these torsion bars. It's usually good for a couple of inches at least. The problem with that is that the lower you go, the more your suspension travel and ride quality suffer. Up until now, we've been able to build pretty much everything for this project, but there comes a point in time when you got to buy some stuff. So we called Lowrider Depot and had them send us, among other things, this trim-to-fit kit for our Nissan. It comes with upper and lower mounting plates, front and rear, gussets to add strength, shock mounts, and these torsion bar elimination plates that weld into place and add stability for you guys that want to keep the stock Nissan lower arms. But unfortunately, that doesn't solve our issue with our Nissan 6-lug spindle up front. So what we're going to use is the world's first system specifically designed for these hard bodies. These custom-made tubular upper and lower control arms from Can-Do Specialties. The upper arm just mounts right into place in the stock location. The lower arm is pressed into the lower bushing sleeve. But the best thing about them is that they utilize these Toyota ball joints, and that allows us to use these Beltec 2-inch drop spindles that will allow us to retain our consistent 5-lug pattern and give us the wheel and tire selection that we want. The upper shock tab also needs to go away to give us the clearance we need for suspension travel. So what are we doing in the fridge? Well, our next step is to press in our lower control arm shaft, and by putting it in the freezer, it shrinks it slightly and makes it easier to press into the bushing sleeve. Can-Do's kit comes with gussets especially made to fit our truck that'll give us back the stability we lost without the strut bars. Unequal length lower arms are pretty common in the street rod world, and definitely the ticket for supporting the load of our front suspension with heavy-duty construction and urethane bushings. If you guys go the route we did with the junkyard rear axle, get them to send you the stock front hub assemblies. Dealerships always charge more for the unforeseen parts you're going to need, like caliper brackets, dust shields, bearings, and rotors. For wheels and tires, we threw down with these Raceline 2-piece 20 by 8.5-inch aluminum wheels that have a 6.5-inch backspace. Now we've wrapped them with these Nitto directional 235/35 ZR20s that are going to look great. Now all we got to do is make them fit. Yep, that's it. We knew that was going to happen because you just can't expect to put this big of a wheel and tire combo inside a stock wheelhouse, but we got some help for that. Well, you guys remember Eric Saliba from the Little Shop of Horrors. Well, he offered to come by and help us with some of the hacking on Project Bodybag, and I see you got your weapon of choice with you, too.
Yeah, got a grinder with a 6-inch cutoff wheel to make some relief cuts in the fender for the 20.
Speaking of relief for the 20s,
yeah, it's a trailer fender here. We know we're going to be in the firewall, so we had to have something to block it now, so it's just a small tub. You can buy one for about 20 bucks, so it saves a lot of money.
well, before we can start hacking this thing up, we got some interior to pull out of it, don't we?
All right, let's get to it.
We knew it was going to be a ton of fab work to tuck 20s. When you have to relief your firewall like we do, make sure you strip everything bare of all the insulation, wiring, and plastic so you can see what you're doing and you don't burn down your project. Trimming for the wheels to tuck is done a little at a time, so make sure you're fitting with the tires you're going to run with, and you better get used to throwing those hoops around too. You can use the radius of your tire to trace your cut lines. Eric whittles about 1 inch at a time, again and again and again, until we've got all the clearance we need. Every action has a reaction. Tucking 20s means there's no room for the stock brake booster. But don't worry, we got a plan that we'll show you later on. All right, let's see what we got. Yep, there it is.
Let's set this thing on the ground.
Well, the last time you guys saw a Bodybag on all 4 wheels, it looked something like this. But now, check this out. Well, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to mount our bags and finish out this air system. Stick around. This is on the ground.
With our frame on the ground, it's time to get our airbags installed so we can breathe some life into them and resurrect Bodybag's stance. Stick around.
Hey, welcome back to Trucks. We're lowering the altitude on this 97 hardbody, creating the foundation for a cool custom mini truck. We've got a frame laying on the ground and we're tucking 20s. Now, it's time to put in an airbag suspension. Air is usually the system of choice for people that are building this kind of truck, but it's not the only choice. Guys have been putting hydraulic systems on vehicles since the 50s. Now, hydraulic systems are designed to handle extreme pressures since the fluid can't be compressed, which makes them perfect for brake systems, but for suspension, it can get a little harsh. And you usually have to engineer some sort of ride control with springs or shocks around the hydraulics. Air, on the other hand, can be compressed and will absorb energy. So for us, using air springs like these Firestone 2,500-pound airbags is going to give us the perfect combination of a smooth ride and major adjustability. So we're going to use this whole system we got from Lowrider Depot. We're using 1/2-inch line into all the fittings, switches, and gauges we need to monitor the system, and pushing it with these 2 Air Zenith compressors that have a 100% duty cycle and a 2.8 CFM flow rating. Just one of these are designed to fill a 5-gallon tank in 1.5 minutes, so 2 of them into our 7-gallon tank. That'll get us back up to pressure in a hurry. But right now, we got to get these front bags mounted. To get the best lift out of our bags, we'll set the mount in place on a fully compressed airbag, mark it, and burn it in. The lower bolt hole is drilled about 1/2 inch offset to the inside so the bag won't get stressed or pulled at ride height. All right, with our bag mocked into place, this upper mounting plate is not strong enough by itself to support the suspension load here, so it's going to have to be reinforced. So what we did was make this 3-piece gusset that's going to give us the reinforcement and the strength that we need for that upper bag mount. And we drilled and tapped these 4 holes so that we can remove this center section if we ever have to replace or service that upper control arm. We also solved the problem we had with our stock power brake booster by replacing it with this 6.5-inch diameter unit from a Geo Metro. That way, when our wheel camber's up and in when we're fully laid out, it doesn't contact the booster. Well, that just about takes care of the front suspension. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll take care of those rear airbags and the rest of the air system. Get this thing a little bit closer to laying out on the frame. Stick around.
Coming up next, Bodybag gets the rest of its air system. And later, we're going to the drags. Frame dragging.
Hey, welcome back to Trucks. We've shifted our focus to the back of the hard body so we can take care of the rest of the airlines and the rear bag mounts. Now, one of the loose ends we had was our Nissan drive shaft and our Toyota rear end. So what we did was re-drill the Toyota yoke to accept the Nissan bolt pattern, and that took care of that. Now, to mount our rear bags, we need to see where our truck is going to be with it fully slammed. Now, the problem with that is that now we have a clearance issue between our drive shaft and the cross member that we made. You know what that means? Another C-notch. So how much extra clearance do we need? Well, right now with our truck on the lift, the frame is about 23.5 inches off the ground. The bottom of the tire where it would meet the road is about 22 3/4. So really, we're only 3/4 of an inch from laying frame. If we were rolling on 18s, we'd already be on the ground. But like we said before, we want to allow ourselves enough room to go to a larger wheel and tire size later on.
So for our drive shaft C-notch, I'm going to use this piece of 1/4 inch steel I found in the scrap pile. We know we need about 1 inch. I'll go ahead and mark it, cut it out, and weld it in. That'll give us the clearance we need for our drive shaft at full drop.
With our relief cutout, we've got plenty of room to fully drop our truck, and now with our cross member strengthened, we can mount our upper and lower bag mounts. Again, use a fully compressed airbag to mark and drill for the rear mounts. You don't ever want to use your airbags as a bump stop. They should be placed where you're not in danger of riding on a deflated bag. The reason we use square tubing on the lower links is to have them support the rear bags. You get a fixed amount of lift out of airbags, so let leverage work for you by mounting towards the front of the link. For our rear shock mount, we used a tube shark and bent up some 1 5/8 inch tubes and fabbed up a bar to hang from the C-notch. We picked up a set of shocks at our local O'Reilly's to mount out back and set them up to be fully compressed at maximum suspension drop. Another reason for using shocks on the back is that with a single inlet and outlet valve, air transfer between the rear bags is possible, and that'll cause pretty drastic body roll. And 2 shocks will keep our hard body level in the corners. Out of all the stuff we got from Lowrider Depot, we've made up our front and rear systems. Out front, we've got a single inlet from the tank using separate valves for up and down for each side. Out back, we've got a single inlet, 1 valve for up, 1 valve for down. We're also using these double needle gauges. This one will monitor left and right front airbags. This one will monitor air tank pressure and the rear bags. One of the cool things about any custom vehicle is that there just aren't many rules, and accessories like air tanks and the compressor's location is up to you and whatever style and look you want to achieve. Ours will sit at the front of the bed on what's left of the floor, and hey, let's face it, this truck's days of light-duty hauling are over. Well, we're going to take a quick break and get the rest of these airlines routed, but when we come back, we'll throw the fuel system in this truck, take it out on the road and drag it. You don't want to miss that.
The sparks are gonna fly as Bodybag tucks those big 20s and hits the pavement.
Hey, welcome back to Trucks. Man, we are so close to getting our truck ready for the road to see how it rolls and how it rails.
One of the last things we got to do before that happens is to mount our fuel cell and our electric fuel pump we got from Summit. The pump will sit under the bed, gets plumbed with our own custom fuel line and AN fittings, is wired into the stock circuits, and then connected to the factory metal lines under the cab. The front valve assembly is mounted in a safe location behind the lower radiator support. Then it's wired up to the harness for the switch box, and the 1/2 inch air lines are pushed into the valves. If you're planning to drop your truck onto the pavement like we are, protecting your air system is pretty high up on the list. So we welded in a skid plate up front just in case. Now you might notice that we're putting a brand new set of fenders on this truck. There was nothing wrong with the original 2-wheel drive fenders, but these 4-wheel drive fenders have a deeper pocket, and let's face it, we need all the wheel and tire clearance we can get trying to turn corners with these big 20s.
All right, try that.
1/2 inch airlines, man. Well, the air system checks out great. Looks like Bodybag is ready for the road. So me and Eric are gonna go catch up with his buddies. Have some fun. Well, as you can clearly see, our goal of laying frame while we're tucking 20s has been achieved. The air system worked flawlessly, no matter how stupid we got with it. What do you say? It's railing, man. It's railing. Big time. Added benefit of an air system is the ride quality you get over stock springs and shocks. It really rides smooth with surprising control and cornering. Well, there's a 4th of July spark show too. We're laid out, man. That's it. We're riding on the rails, buddy. Woo! We're working the heck out of this system and it just keeps on kicking. There's great control and fast recovery, not to mention the jaw-dropping stance that you can only get on air. It don't get no lower than that. It just doesn't get any lower than that. And don't think this is the last you've seen of this truck either. How about suicide doors, shaved handles, graphics, paint? Keep watching for us to resurrect Bodybag soon. Is that mission accomplished or what? Well, here's an interesting twist. What about a muffler that doubles as a skid plate for Jeeps, 4x4s, and SUVs? Well, this is Flowmaster's new Extreme Off-Road Muffler. Now check this out. Its diamond plate case is made out of 14-gauge steel. That's 27% thicker than that of the regular 40 series car muffler. Now 27% may not seem like a lot, but the crush resistance of this muffler is 15 times greater than that of an OE muffler. Inside, it has Flowmaster's Delta Flow technology that delivers more power and torque, as well as that awesome sound. But this one won't tear up on the rocks. The street price on Flowmaster's new Extreme Off-Road Series muffler is about 89 bucks. I know you guys have seen us put Skyjacker lift kits on 4-wheel drive trucks, but now Skyjacker's making their kits for 2-wheel drive F-150s. This is a true 6-inch suspension lift that includes Skyjacker's Platinum Series front soft ride coil and shock assembly, CNC machined steering knuckles, and this unique design features a high-clearance front crossmember. The kit comes with rear addle-leafs, but you can upgrade to these soft-ride rear springs. This kit fits 04 to 06 2-wheel drive F-150s and requires no cutting, welding, or grinding, and they start at about $1,900 bucks. Thanks for watching Trucks. See you guys next week.